That's right out of a mafioso coming into a bar going, "Nice bar you have here. It'd be a shame if something happened to it."
Yeah, that would be Ted Cruz doing the worst Italian mafiosa accent of all time. But he's actually on to something there, and I'd be happy to elaborate because we are seeing a full-on assault of freedom of speech in this country, or as Trump calls it, hate speech, because he hates it, and therefore it should be illegal. And that is not a joke. He thinks criticizing him is an illegal campaign contribution to the Democrats and not a right that all Americans have, and one that every president eventually hates at some point because being made fun of and criticized is a core part of being president. And yesterday, we saw the literal toppling and destruction of free speech, and this story needs more attention than it's getting. So help me out. Hit subscribe to Really American Media because that's a nice democracy you got there. It'd be a shame if something happened to it. All right, neither Ted or I should be doing an Italian accent, clearly. But the point is, Trump does think that he's a mob boss, and none of this is funny. And Ted Cruz was actually referring to the suspension of Jimmy Kimmel, which has since been reversed. Nice job. And Jimmy himself addressed these mob tactics on his return episode.
But it seems like the FCC is using mob tactics to suppress free speech.
What the did you just say to me?
Yeah. Now, you see, that's funny because the FCC would know that you can't swear on TV. And it's not funny because that is exactly how the Trump regime is acting, like a mob boss threatening to break stuff while censoring free speech. And we just saw a literal manifestation of that yesterday, and I am truly shocked, and that is hard to do to me nowadays. And if you've seen any of my other videos here, you know that I've carved out a little niche for myself by highlighting protest art pieces like the ones you're seeing right now. I think they're a great way to attack Trump's vanity, and these artists deserve the recognition they're getting here. But just 2 days ago, one of those artists set the bar pretty high.
A statue of President Trump has appeared on the National Mall. It depicts Trump holding hands with Jeffrey Epstein. A plaque reads, "In honor of Friendship Month, we celebrate the long-lasting bond between President Donald J. Trump and his closest friend Jeffrey Epstein."
Yeah, the friendship statues of Trump and Epstein might just be the most bold and brazen middle finger to Trump yet. And many people have been wondering if Trump was going to throw some ketchup at the Oval Office wall and demand they be taken down, which would be kind of tricky because the artist had a permit to display them. And we have a thing called the First Amendment that guarantees our right to free speech and to peaceably protest. So instead, the White House issued their response saying, quote, "Liberals are free to waste their money however they see fit, but it's not news that Epstein knew Donald Trump because Donald Trump kicked Epstein out of his club for being a creep," end quote. Now, the last part of that little statement there is highly debatable, but I will save that for another video. Either way, you can tell the Trump world did not love these new statues, which makes sense because I love them very much, and so did the rest of the interwebs. It even inspired a brand new fake The Simpsons predicted this video. This is a new thing going on. These are AI generated, and this is based on the actual long history of The Simpsons correctly predicting things on the real TV show. But even though this is fake, I'm going to play it for you because it does actually predict what just happened. Oh, the irony. And that's the point I'm getting at.
The Simpsons predicted that a Trump and Epstein statue would appear in D.C. The episode opens with Springfield Elementary arriving in the nation's capital. Principal Skinner tells the kids to line up for the Lincoln Memorial, but Ralph wanders off and discovers something shocking behind a tarp. A bronze statue, taller than a bus, showing two political figures smiling and holding hands. Reporters shove microphones forward, Bart says.
Now that's creepy.
Within hours, social media explodes. No one claims responsibility. Souvenir sellers swarm the mall with cheap replicas. Airlines announce discount flights to D.C. to see history. Lines stretch for blocks as people fight to take selfies with the statue. But not everyone is impressed. Protesters wave signs demanding its removal. Police drag demonstrators from the steps of the mall. Back in Springfield, the reactions divide the town. Comic book guy imports miniature replicas and charges $300 each. Mr. Burns commissions his own statue, only larger. Meanwhile, in D.C., crowds trample gardens and topple fences. The National Park Service fences the statue off, but people climb over anyway. The mayor declares the mall a security zone. Finally, under pressure, Congress steps in. Lawmakers call the statue a national embarrassment. A midnight vote passes to remove it for public safety. By sunrise, the mall is empty again.
Yeah, all right. Now, again, the Simpsons did not actually predict the friendship statues. That's all AI. But the end of that video is actually correct. The statues did cause an uproar, which led to them disappearing by sunrise in a very, it'd be a shame if something happened to them sort of way.
They going to break them. Oh, they going to knock it over. Look. Yep. Break that. Oh, man. Yeah, they knocked it over. They were just recording them. Yeah, they breaking the mans off and everything. Damn.
Yeah, Trump sent his mob-like goons to tear down the statues at 5 a.m. before the sun came up, as if they didn't want anyone to see them doing it. But thankfully, someone caught it all on camera. And as you just saw, they made no effort to take them down gently. They simply knocked them over and loaded what was left into a truck. So where do I begin with how messed up this is? First of all, as you can see right here, they literally destroyed these statues, which is the perfect metaphor for what Trump is doing to our First Amendment. It's certainly a mob-like tactic or something that schoolyard bullies would do.
Last night on the Manhattan Bridge, you saved 12 lives. We want to hear your calls.
I think without Spider-Man, there'd be no hope for this thing. Who do you think pays the bills for all the damages he causes, huh? It's you and me, taxpayers.
Did you make this?
Yeah.
This is amazing. It's good as new, right?
Yeah, problem is Spider-Man's not coming to save the day, and the Trump regime thinks they can get away with breaking our democracy. We're supposed to be a society of rules and laws, and the artist in question did have a permit to display those statues through this week. But the Trump Reich is now claiming that the terms of the permit were violated because the statues were too tall, so they simply had to go immediately. Problem is, the rules of that permit state that if there is a violation of the terms, you have to give the permit holder 24 hours notice so that they have a chance to correct the issue or take them down gently, otherwise the permit gets revoked. No such notice was given. So, try not to choke on the irony that they broke the rules while claiming someone else was breaking the rules. Again, this is the literal toppling of free speech, and what they don't seem to realize is they're just bringing more attention to the topic and begging for artists to line up and make the next statues that will embarrass the hell out of Trump and never, ever let this Epstein issue die. And speaking of that, it's funny how the universe works. As they say, for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. Well, look what the universe just did.
Now, Adelita Grijalva will succeed her father, who died in March. Democrats say the win means they now likely have enough signatures to force a vote on whether to call on the Department of Justice to release all the Epstein files. We will stay tuned to that.
Yeah, a Democrat won a special election, and now there's enough votes to force the release of the Epstein files. So stay tuned for that and for more artists who publicly roast our dictator-in-chief, and you know we're going to cover it all right here. In the meantime, share this video worldwide because it will drive Trump crazy. And comment below with your thoughts on this blatant violation of the First Amendment. In other words, get vocal. From the Vocal Minority Podcast with Nick and Steve, which airs live right here on this YouTube channel every Friday at 3 p.m. Pacific Time, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Next day in Australia, I don't know. You'll figure it out. I'm Steve Harness for Really American Media.